Hey guys, welcome back to Free Consultancy. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are here joined again by Vicky Newbold, the nutritionist for AFC Wimbledon Football Club.
A nutritionist is someone who helps an individual or a group of people to find a way of eating, so using food to support their health, and specifically when it comes to sports performance, it is about supporting performance and competitions and events.
Cool. So how is it you fell into being a nutritionist? How did it all start for you?
Well, I came to sort of the career as such later in life. So I actually started out working in production in creative industries, but I'd really been quite involved in nutrition from kind of the age of 13. I became a really strict vegetarian, and so I had to start sort of learning about, where animal products were. I learned that there was, cow gelatin and polo mints or something. I was really, really strict.
Oh, wow.
So that was where I first started sort of coming across food and how to sort of feed myself and how to get the right kind of foods. And then really it was later on in life, after I had my kids, I've got 2 kids, I just wanted to kind of shift my career into something that I was really, really passionate about. So I became a mature student. I went back to university, studied again, got my master's degree and qualified.
Wow.
And so now I'm a registered nutritionist. So it's not really a protected title, so it's actually something that anybody could call themselves. But it's definitely becoming sort of more and more regulated. But yeah, that's how I came into it.
Cool. It's good to see that you followed your passion. Definitely, it's never too late to sort of fall into what you love. So.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So when you started out and you got your degree and you become a registered nutritionist, what was the journey like after that? Was it you worked jobs or did you start on your own company initially?
I mean, I actually started to do it as soon as I started studying it, partly because you can, but also the first qualification that I did actually had some sort of practical elements to it. I had to put together a case study, so I had to find a client, and so as soon as I started doing that, really I started actually practicing, but on a very sort of simple level, and obviously stayed within the scope of what I was able to do because I wasn't fully qualified then. And then I did my master's degree part-time, so I started taking on private clients at that point and just started, offering my time to clubs and things like that. So there was quite a lot of sort of voluntary work goes on just to kind of build contacts and get experience, really.
Yeah.
So
Get your foot in the door and sort of meet new people. So just for people watching who may be interested, what does a day-to-day life look like as a nutritionist? Because I personally have no idea. So I'm interested as well.
Yeah.
What was your day-to-day look like?
I mean, for me, it actually really varies day to day as well. So I think I'm probably quite typical in that I have quite a few different jobs, so to speak. So I don't just have one employer, I don't just have one job that I do, Monday to Friday, and actually certainly being a nutritionist, because I work in sport, it's not a Monday to Friday thing, you're working every day of the week. So I have a few different roles. I do work on the NHS Diabetes Prevention Programme as well, which is more of a health coaching thing. And so that sort of weaves in and out of the other roles that I have. But the job that I have with the football club that I work with at the moment, that's sort of a day that starts pretty early, in pre-season really early, but probably getting up around 6, leave the home about 7, and I head into the training ground, and then we get in early. So when I say we, actually it's the whole sports science and medicine department. We all aim to get in, and we start each day with a meeting, and that's the physio, the sports therapists, the sports science department, and we all sort of get together and we'll talk about the day ahead, but also individual players. Then the players will come in. At the moment, we're COVID testing, so that gets, put into part of the day, and I muck in with that. I've done a bit of done a bit of COVID testing. I think that's the thing as well. You work as part of a multidisciplinary team, and I imagine in the Premier League, right at the top, you'll have a nutritionist who only deals with nutrition. But if you're sort of being realistic about the industry and the funding and the budgets available, everybody sort of mucks in. So I do a little bit of the meal prep, which is what we have at the moment for lunches. Normally we'd have a chef, but again, because of COVID, we haven't been able to do that. And then really I just go around and chat to all the players, go and see them while they're having rehab, go down and watch training, maybe give a talk, eat lunch at some point. And then the day always ends with another meeting with the department.
Cool. Busy day.
Busy
life.
I think the 6 a.m. starts. That's not for me.
I'm an early bird, so
this could be the career you have.
You're used as a player to pop up.
Everything's ready. That's right. The food ready, everything. So working as part of a team like that and having such a varied role in the club, how is the impact of a nutritionist measured?
That's such a good question. It's a really difficult one to actually measure. So we do try and measure it, but what's quite difficult is to actually sort of extract it from the whole process. So when you look at a squad, or you look at an individual, there's the S&C coach, there's the sports science guy, there's the physio, the sports therapist. Everybody has a part to play in supporting that player or supporting that squad. So whatever kind of measurement that you might take for success, it's really difficult to say, oh, it was definitely the nutrition or it was definitely the S&C program. So nutrition is really, it's an important cog. Obviously, I think it's a really important cog in the sort of machinery, but it is only one part of it. One of the main things that we use at the club really is about availability of players. So we view it very much as being a success if we have a really high availability. So that would be across the squad having 90% of the players available for selection by the coaches for training and for games. So the fewer players who are out through injury or illness is really one of the main things that we sort of aim to achieve. So having that high availability. And then we do sometimes take sort of objective measures, like we'll look at GPS data from training sessions or from games. Of course, again, you can't separate the nutrition out from the effort of that player or that squad in how hard they've worked in that session. But you can take a hard training session, you can take GPS data from that session, and then do another session where maybe the players are fed slightly differently, and then you can compare it. So there are definitely things that we do in practice that maybe aren't as robust as you would need for like a research project, but they're ways of sort of demonstrating our value. And then the other thing I would do quite a lot of is sort of surveys with the players. So I'll sort of try and establish, where's their education and their knowledge right now. Then we'll do a workshop, and then afterwards I'll ask them again, how would you rate your knowledge? Did you learn anything? So it's sort of try and do what we can, but it is really, really hard to do.
Yeah, I can imagine your days are very different. And there's so many different variables, like you just mentioned, that change each day and each week. What would you say is your favourite thing about being a nutritionist?
Helping people. I mean, I have to say it's why I got into doing this. I just really, really enjoy helping people. I think, having a chat with a player who then goes, I'd never thought of doing that, or I've sort of been struggling with, I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't really know how to do it. That's really rewarding. And then I think probably the thing that really I feel really chuffed about is seeing injured players going back out. There's such a good feeling about, you go through that process with them, and I think it's quite a difficult time, being able to kind of support them through that process as well, specifically with nutrition, but I think we all play that part of, you know, that support team, the kind of emotional, psychological side of it. And then you see them going back out, or, you know, you see their name go up on the, you know, the list, and that's really rewarding.
I bet, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, injury at that time, the players usually so isolated from their playing team.
Massively,
To have that support team around them, it must be so important for morale.
Yeah, definitely. And I always say to the players who sort of have any kind of injury as well, is that, you know, actually it's one of those times when you can really use nutrition. You know, you can't go out and train, you can't go out and score goals or save goals, or, you know, you can't do any of that. All you can do is work on your injury. So actually, let's use every single tool in the toolbox, and let's, you know, this is opportunity to kind of work on the things that maybe you don't have so much time for the rest of the time. And it gives them a bit more power. They feel like they're empowered, they've got more to control as well, let's be honest. If you've got not much else to focus on, getting back from an injury, then nutrition is definitely something that you can focus on.
I think definitely, and I know, well, my club was lucky enough to have Vicky speak to us, and that was during the lockdown period. So I think, like you say there, the lack of ability to be playing and actually competing gave us that extra time to focus on, okay, how do we get ready to come back, how do we get ready to compete? And I guess now going into the season break, that's a great time for maybe footballers to be looking at their nutrition and what they can begin to change and adapt. And before we wrap up with this video, we have to ask, is there any advice you would give to someone who's maybe considering this as a career? They maybe haven't got any qualifications, this is maybe the first thought they give into it, you know, where do they go from that point?
Where do they go from that point? I mean, I would say it's definitely a career if you're passionate about it. I would say it's definitely not one where you're gonna, you know, easily make loads of money. The traditional route into becoming a nutritionist is to do some form of sciences at A level or BTEC, and then go on and do a degree. But, you know, strictly speaking, that's not essential. But it's definitely changing, so it's becoming a bit more that way. So the best approach would definitely be do biology, physiology, do PE or something like that as A level, go and do a degree. There are registers for nutritionists. So there's the Association for Nutrition, which is a sort of general nutritionist register. And then there is the Sport and Exercise Nutrition Register, which is specifically for sport and performance nutritionists. And so the recommendation really would be to go and do one of the courses that's actually on their approved list. And that means that you automatically get accredited. So you do your degree and then you'll come out and you'll automatically be on the register. If you want to work in elite or professional sport, you need to be on that register. So that's the SENA register. But, you know, I'm proof that you can come to this later on. So it's never too late. You just gotta be willing to work hard. But yeah, if you're interested in it, pursue nutrition from degree level, or at least go into sports science, and then you can always do a master and go from there.
So for them courses that Vicky mentioned there, we'll be linking them down below in the description so you can go and do your own research. We'll also, of course, be linking Vicky's website and her Instagram, Vicky Nutrition. Thanks again for your time, and we hope you enjoyed the video.
Nice one, guys. Take care.